The basement of La Penta, it's WICR. This is WICR.
Hello, Iona College. Welcome back to the WICR Morning Show. I'm your host with the most, Jersey Joe. Coming with my partner, as always, on the morning show, Ken Reichman. But we've got a new addition, Ian Sachs. Ooh. It's good to have the amazing trio here this morning. And we've got a fantastic interview coming up at 9:40. We have Yvonne Wenger of the Baltimore Sun will be joining us. She was at the New Rochelle game this Saturday for Ray Rice's first public appearance since this whole controversy came down last week. So it's going to be really interesting to talk to her. Why don't you guys kick it us? I mean, give us your take. What did you we all read the article. We posted the article on our social media sites. We're on Facebook at WICR, at WICR Gales 1 on Twitter. What are you guys expecting from her in this interview?
Well, first, Ian, welcome.
Thank you.
The newest addition to the Big Three, if I could say, Chris Bosh-esque.
Well,
he's needed, but he's not necessary.
We've got to do Cavaliers now, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
So is he Kevin Love or Kyrie Irving?
Well,
So I'm
no.
obviously LeBron.
No, okay,
I mean,
well, wearing the Kyrie Irving jersey,
There's
I'm
no
LeBron.
discussion here.
Sure thing, Jersey Joe. Let's move on before we get into this whole thing. But the article, very interesting. Ray Rice in public for the first time. I think it mentioned in the article that he's hired a crisis management firm to support him through this whole fiasco. So it's very interesting to see where this is going to go. You saw yesterday that he's going to appeal the suspension to the NFL. So just another chapter in this book of craziness between Ray Rice and the NFL.
And that's one thing I really want to ask about. I mean, with the timing of everything, and I want to get to in a minute the whole Adrian Peterson thing this weekend, but with the timing of everything that's happened this week, on Friday you had the Outside the Lines thing on Greg Hardy, you had the news on Adrian Peterson. This was about as bad a week for the NFL as you could possibly get PR-wise, and now, I mean, it's the NFL Players Association's job. No matter how bad it is, you have to stick up for your players.
Right.
But the timing of this, with appealing this, I just think it looks really, really bad with everything else that's happening.
Yeah, sorry, and really quickly, I think the worst part about it is last night Jerry Jones saying that the owners are 100% behind Roger Goodell.
Yep.
Which is they're 100% in the wrong direction. So hopefully that figures itself out.
Yeah, but then another thing you have to look at is the fans are still flocking in the NFL. I mean, no matter how many cases of this guy did this guy did that, he's suspended how many games, they're still drawing fans to the stadium. And they're watching the games on TV. They're still buying the merchandise. So, I mean, the NFL is not in jeopardy at all here.
Yeah, I don't think the NFL is in jeopardy, but I think this is where you see how big something is. You can compare it to the Penn State issue a few years back, when there's something that's so big that it can't fail, too big to fail, right? The NFL is too big to fail. Honestly, they could do nothing wrong to lose money, to lose their fans. Same thing with Penn State football. They could sodomize children and still draw a sellout every game, and still make millions of dollars on television. The same thing with the NFL. And that's where the bigger problem lies with us as fans of the sport and not within the league itself.
Well, I mean, I'll say this. I mean, the bottom line, at the end of the day, it's all about money. That's all the owners care about, is how much money are you going to put in their pockets. Roger Goodell has shown that he's just put this league in financial success it's never come close to, and no one's going to resign from a $40 million a year job, and the owners aren't going to do anything about it either. I mean, he has a lot of explaining to do. This whole situation has, quite frankly, been embarrassing the way it's been handled. But you know what? At the end of the day, I really don't see anything changing about it.
If you're going to lie.
Yeah.
Lie, and do it the right way. At least fake it until you make it. Isn't that the rule?
I mean, here's the thing I have a hard time believing is, why would the Commissioner Goodell in the NFL risk all of this PR crisis, risk his credibility as the commissioner over one guy, Ray Rice? I mean, Ray Rice is a good player. He was for a while, but Why would you risk so much on
a
one
running
player
back
on the
down slope
Baltimore
of
Ravens?
his career.
Why?
Yeah,
I don't understand it.
It's hard to defend.
Yeah.
It's hard to defend for anybody, even if it was Peyton Manning or Drew Brees. It doesn't matter. It's still a horrendous act that should have been taken care of the right way in the first place. It wasn't, and then the snowball effect, which Mom taught me about when I broke my watch in 3rd grade and I lied about it. But Roger Goodell apparently never got that lesson. Until last week.
Well, maybe he never broke his watch in the 3rd grade.
Well, no, his mom probably just bought him a new one.
Well, let's talk about defending a little bit. I mean, we alluded to it a little bit earlier, and we talked about Adrian Peterson a little bit. And for a long time, I mean, this has been one of my favorite players for a long time, and it's really coming to light now, where you're just kind of seeing you never know what's going to happen with these players. We're running out of guys. I mean, I'm running out of jerseys here. I've lost like 10 jerseys in the last couple. Well, okay, that's a good point. Maybe I'm not running out, but I'm running out of some guys.
Okay.
But Adrian Peterson, this whole thing, I mean, when I saw this news on Friday, I couldn't believe it. I mean, out of all the people you would have expected for this story about him hitting his child, I believe it was with a tree branch or something like that, the news is saying now, and I mean, it just, could things get any worse for the NFL right now?
I mean, especially after the news from last year, where his child
died
to death.
Yeah, that was horrible.
Yeah, by his ex-wife's ex-husband or something like that to that effect. But geez, it's scary. It's scary to think about. And obviously, there's more people who do it. And it's a bigger issue than just Adrian Peterson. But the way that he treated his son, I mean, I don't know. I mean. Goodness.
And that's the thing. After the story came out last year about the way that, that his son died, it's just mind-blowing that like this would even come up with his name. Like everyone felt so bad for him, and really that was an unfortunate situation. But now the fact that it looks like he was abusing his son, like that just blows it out of proportion.
I don't have many words for that.
Now, I want to ask Yvonne about this when she comes on, but I want to pose this question to you guys. You see everything going on in the NFL. You have Greg Hardy of the Panthers. His domestic violence situation looks even worse than Ray Rice. You have Ray McDonald of the 49ers, who doesn't look much better. Now you have Adrian Peterson. We've talked a lot about the Ray Rice thing. You look at the NFL over the last couple years, and you see more and more of these cases involving breaking the law and things to that nature. Does the NFL have a crime violence problem?
Yes.
They do. I agree. I mean, you look at everything I thought about this last year. I read some articles on it, and everybody was kind of still saying, well, if you look at the league as a whole and you compare the rates and things like that, it's actually low. But I just look at the more big stories coming out about this. This is a major problem.
There's no comparison for a roster. How big is a roster? What, 53, and then 10 for the practice squad? So it's 63. There's no other sport in the world that can compare to that. So there's no comparison between the net number of players who commit crimes as opposed to the net number of basketball players who commit crimes, because there's 10 on a basketball team,
12.
So there's no way to compare that when there's 5 times more players on an NFL sideline than there are on an NBA team. There's no comparing that. On the other hand, the NFL without a doubt has a crime or violence issue, however you pose the question. Yes, is the answer to that. And you can see that the way that the NFL goes about punishing these crimes is not consistent. They lay down the law on specific things like drug use, and do not lay down the law on other things like vehicular manslaughter. So there's a bit of a rift in between how they punish crimes in the NFL, and you can see that the connection between the two is staggering.
Well, then they don't even have a clear policy on drug use.
No, and we've seen that coming up a lot in the news also.
Right. I mean, look at Wes Welker got 4 games and Josh Gordon got a whole season. So right there, there's no clear basis for drug use is right here.
Well, they have different descriptions and punishments for different drugs, and it's actually they have it the wrong way. They have a recreational drug, which is the whole season that's suspended, and a performance enhancing, which was 4. So what? How?
I mean,
How?
yeah. The thing I think about this a lot now is the NBA kind of used to have the reputation of having the worst off the court problems with their players and things like that. The NFL has definitely exceeded that. I mean, it used to be kind of that stigma was attached to the NBA off the court. But I think now you really see what a gigantic shift it's changed you. You look at the NBA and there really hasn't been a major off the court problem in a long time now. I mean, maybe you go back to the Auburn Hills incident
Did
with
Ron
the Ron
Artest
Artest
count
situation.
off the court? Technically,
I mean, I don't know, Ian. What do you
technically
think?
he was in the stands, so that doesn't count as on the court.
Would you say that's probably the last big NBA huge incident we've had?
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the NFL,
malice.
you go back recently, the Michael Vick thing. I mean, just more and more and more. And the NFL has really shifted into that stigma. That stigma is now attached to them, and I think it's rightfully so. But good thoughts this morning. We're going to continue to get prepared.
Thanks, Joe.
Oh, you've got it, of course. We're all about
I need that.
positivity.
It's Monday. I need that.
Positivity and energy on the morning show.
We're all about good thoughts here.
All about good
Good
thoughts.
thoughts, good vibes, a lot of high
See,
fives.
that's what we
a
do.
lot
We
of
bring
smiles.
on Ian Sachs, and we get more good thoughts
One
on the
at a
morning
time,
show.
folks.
But
One at a
that's
time.
going to wrap it up for our first segment. We're still getting prepared for our interview coming up later in the show. That will be at 9:40, so definitely stay tuned for this. We're going to move into some world news. Drop the hammer on ISIS. Got a lot of
Jeez,
thoughts
Joe.
on that, so stay with us, and we will be right back.